Good afternoon, everyone. Well, in our afternoon session, we are going to talk about how to balance your hormones. Joining me in just a few seconds will be Alyssa Wilson. She is a certified nutritionist and functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. So she should be joining me in 1 second, and I will she'll be talking about how to balance our hormones. So just bear with me for 1 second while joining me. And we'll be discussing, there you are. We figured
Hello,
it out.
here I am. How are you doing today?
Great, great. Thank you so much for joining. I was just telling the viewers that we are going to be talking about balancing our hormones. And welcome, Alyssa. Alyssa is a certified nutritionist and a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. Right? Did I say it right?
Right. Yes, you did say it right. I think I'm going to relocate a little bit.
Okay. Yes.
Okay. All right. So, yes, I'm a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner and certified nutritionist.
So let's talk about why do our hormones go out of balance to begin with? We keep reading, balance your hormones, but why do we go out of balance to begin with?
I love this question, and I have one word for you, but then I explain a little bit more.
Okay.
It's stress.
Oh
That's
my God.
one big reason why our hormones go out of balance. And
stress. But all of us are stressed nowadays. So how do we?
A lot of stress, and I tell you, the stress can come from outside and can come from inside. When I say stress, it can definitely be a mental stress, so like the boss you hate. We live in a very stressful times when we do not have time to actually stop and see what's going on around us. It's always the phone, the work, the kids. We're always on the go. It's not good for our nervous system. And we have this nerve, vagus nerve, that connects our brain to all of our organs. And from this nerve and from the stress, these nerves get deactivated and get kind of lazy, and our digestion is compromised. And when we have compromised digestion, this is the internal stress. So our hydrochloric acid going down, when we don't have that acidity in our stomach, all type of opportunistic bacteria, pathogens can get in our gut, and we have inflamed gut. So this is the internal stress that's coming from our body. Heavy metal toxicity, liposaccharides that produce a toxic environment in our body, fungus, the leaky gut itself. So that's produce a lot of internal stress. Plus the bacteria in our small intestine, we have overgrowth of the bacteria in the small intestine. It's all like a snowball effect that prevents us from digesting fats. We need cholesterol to produce these healthy hormones, our sex hormones. And when we stress, our body chooses the stress hormone over sex hormones. And one big factor, I always say, because of nutrition was a wild west, especially last 70 years, a lot of industries telling us to go certain directions. What I really like the latest research on saturated fats. We've been told for years and years and years that saturated fat is bad for us, cholesterol is bad for us.
Yeah.
When we don't consume cholesterol, when we don't consume saturated fats like butter, ghee, coconut oil, but we use polyunsaturated fats like vegetable oils that are highly unstable, highly toxic for our body because of the heat, because of the oxidation, we produce our hormones with the oxygen. So there is a lot of things, and women a lot of times are told, okay, don't eat, the cholesterol is bad for you. But if you don't consume these eggs, that butter, the good cholesterol, grass-fed butter, your body starts producing a lot of the cholesterol. It's a lot of burden on your liver, plus all the sugars. All our foods are stripped of the good, healthy fats.
Yeah.
There is sluggish liver. And liver, this is the organ that metabolizes your hormones. I really like I really like, you know, when we talk about our hormones, we do need to understand that liver is the organ that help us to metabolize our hormones, convert thyroid hormone T4 to T3, converts that cholesterol, take that cholesterol, vitamin A, and T3, the thyroid hormone, and producing nice progesterone for us. A lot of women come to me and they're talking about low progesterone, what is happening here, and they come from really strict vegan diet, no fats in their diet, you know, no cholesterol, vitamin A is not consumed. Like a lot of these things we need to produce healthy hormones, especially for us women. And of course, a lot of times our period is connected to thyroid hormone. If I see imbalances in the women's cycle, I always address the full panel, full hormone panel. There is so much investigate. And one other stress I wanted to mention is, have you heard about paleo deficit disorder? Mm-hmm. This is when we do not live according to our nature cycles, the circadian rhythm, where we wake up exhausted, right? We go straight to the phone. We don't get sunshine. We don't get minerals from our food. We don't get minerals from our water. That's a stress on the body. That's a huge stress on the body. We don't live the way our ancestors used to live. They did have stress, but they knew how to relax. They knew how to sit down around the fire, and it's time for food. It's time to like, you know, it's time to leave everything behind. Right now we stress 24/7, and a lot of stress is coming for us women, coming from looking at our people's successful lifestyles. You know, a lot of people, this is never ending stress. We're looking at how, like, Instagram, Facebook, and what women do, right, from when they wake up, they grab Instagram and look at other women, like, you know, at their bodies, at their lifestyles, at their cars, you know, and it's a huge stress. It's a huge stress. So then, you know, they go to work. They never have time for themselves. We sit down. Sometimes a lot of work involves sitting in the office. It doesn't matter how, you know, how many windows in your office you have. If you don't go outside, if you don't get that sunlight, your body doesn't know it's daytime. Then in the nighttime, we come home, we do some work, we'll look at the TV, blue light. Again, stress on the body. So I started with the stress, and they say the worst thing that happened to your body, it's all this stress. They're coming from outside, from inside.
That's very interesting. So, so let's see, I mean, how do we balance? I mean, of course, reducing the stress, but how do we balance our hormones by reducing the stress? That's what you're suggesting, right?
Yes. Well, what I always say, I always do, when people come into me, I always do the Dutch test to see where the cortisol, where's the nice slope. We're supposed to have this nice key slope, and I see where's the cortisol during the daytime. I always check the minerals, because minerals are our spark plugs. We are so depleted on all kind of minerals. A lot of people don't understand that, for example, anemia, they think it's not enough iron in their body, but it's actually overload of irons that gets deposited in different tissues. And we see a deficiency in the blood test. So I do hair trace mineral analysis to see if there are heavy metals involved, there are mineral deficiencies involved. Then I definitely do GI map test. I see if we have pathogens in the gut. We see, do we have hydrochloric acid? Do we digest foods? If there is SIBO involved, overgrowth in the small intestine. And usually that's a big offender after age like 38, 40. I see a lot of women suffer from hormone imbalances, and they do have SIBO, that overgrowth in the small intestine. It prevents us from absorbing vitamins and nutrients, and also that fats, good quality fats, cholesterol. So you kind of take your supplements, you eat avocados, you're thinking that it's, why am I not feeling better? But a lot of times these bacteria prevent you from having good vitamins, minerals, you know, the fats in your body, and it produces a lot of toxins, liposaccharides that gets into your bloodstream, poisoning your thyroid, all the blood going through our thyroid in like 15 minutes. And we're thinking about where's the problem with thyroid coming from. Also liver, if we don't have this good bile flow, everything gets compromised. Again, the SIBO is there, we're not digesting our foods, and the liver working really, really hard to protect us, to store vitamins and minerals. And if we have insulin resistance, if we have PCOS, we have all these like high inflammatory estrogen dominant conditions, our liver is very sluggish, and we need to support the girl because it's like our best friend and bodyguard in our body. And when we do support liver, we'll see a lot of changes in our hormones. And actually, usually when I talk about, for example, thyroid, it usually leaky gut, compromised gut. It's usually liver, sluggish liver, where it's not sensitive, so insulin resistance in the liver cells. And estrogen dominance. So our cycle is highly connected to our thyroid hormone. That's our metabolism.
I see. So explain a little bit. Yeah, explain a little bit on the estrogen dominance. For our viewers, maybe a lot of people don't understand the estrogen dominance.
Yes, actually, estrogen dominant. What is really interesting, you can be, estrogen is the hormones that help us to prepare our uterine lining for the future baby, right? So when we have estrogen, everything pretty much grow in our body. It's our growth hormone. And then after the ovulation, when we ovulate and start producing progesterone, it balances out the estrogen. And if we don't ovulate with the conditions like PCOS, or we get in the perimenopausal state when we don't ovulate every cycle. And actually, a healthy woman doesn't ovulate every cycle. So we don't produce progesterone that can contradict the estrogen. And estrogen starts growing in a lot of the tissues, like cysts, endometriosis, again, inflammation, PCOS, coming from estrogen being abundant and not tamed by the progesterone. What is really interesting, you can go to the doctor and do the blood test, and they tell you that your estrogen looks normal, but you still have the estrogen dominant condition. A lot of times when you look at the Dutch test, I see if that estrogen, it chooses different pathways to be metabolized in your body. And if it chooses 16-hydroxy, 4-hydroxy pathways, they are very, 4-hydroxy is responsible for a lot of DNA damage. So the breast cancer is coming from that. A lot of problems with your DNA. Early aging with 16-hydroxy pathway, endometriosis, polyps, cysts, everything start growing in your body. And then you think you're like, okay, my doctor told me estrogen looks good on the blood test, but it's metabolites. How your body decides to metabolize these hormones is very important. And then we see if you actually can excrete the estrogen. If you do have constipation, if the second phase of your liver detox, if compromised, it's like a drain. If you're not draining that estrogen, you're reabsorbing that estrogen, and you actually reabsorbing a lot of it sometimes. So all the excess estrogen that's coming from us, like we live in an estrogen dominant world. It's coming from the plastics, from our body lotions, from creams, from shampoos, from the air we breathe, from the water we drink. Because if you have a neighbor who has who taking birth control pills, or taking some kind of like depression medication, it's not getting filtered in our water supply. So we basically, that's why water quality is so important. A lot of estrogens coming this way. And if you have constipation, if you have overgrowth, if you have yeast overgrowth, if you have candida, like your yeast infections, if you have that, you absorbing all these estrogens back into your body. So it's really, really important to see that metabolize. And again, who is responsible? Liver, your gut. So a lot of people don't understand that if you want to balance your hormones, you have to start with your liver and including your stomach, seeing if you have H. pylori, if you have pathogens. If we remove everything that's creating that stress, internal stress, I highly recommend doing the checking your fasting insulin, seeing if you're insulin resistant. If you do have fat accumulated around your abdominal area, most likely your liver is sluggish. And it comes from the fat around your liver, then visceral fat around your organs, and then you see it on outside. So again, you already have metabolic changes. And it's not a rocket science to work on it and to turn this ship around. You just have to do the right type of testing, check your gut, check your liver, check your thyroid, full panel. When sometimes you go to the doctors and they told you, hey, TSH look good, but you don't understand, sometimes it's not the problem. First of all, TSH, they check in the hormone that's coming from pituitary to your thyroid. It's not even thyroid hormone.
Yeah.
Second, if you do not have this right conversion from T4 to T3 in your liver, if your liver is not helping, if you don't have enzymes, if you don't have selenium, for example, if you have copper toxicity, you don't have these minerals, and if your liver is sluggish, your brain is thinking, oh, there is not enough thyroid hormone. It's like, we need more, or we're okay. But the thing is not about thyroid. It's how much of this hormone your body gets. So a lot of times your pituitary make mistakes. It's like your thyroid never comes first, ever. If you have issues with your thyroid, if you're hypothyroid, if Hashimoto's, they never come first. There's your liver, there's your estrogen dominance. Estrogen can mimic thyroid hormone in your body. And if you have this estrogen dominant condition, you're most likely going to have problems with the thyroid hormone in your body. But your doctor going to tell you, we don't see anything. Because you need to check your T3, reverse T3, the ratio to see what's going on in your liver. You need to see if it's a lot of stress, your body not giving that thyroid hormone. And also, like I said, to have that nice progesterone, again, we need thyroid hormone, vitamin A, and we need good liver. So it's very connected. And for that thyroid, we don't need that too much estrogen. So checking Dutch test, really good for your hormones.
Okay.
Then testing your liver, then insulin resistance, then full thyroid panel, and minerals. Without them, nothing going to work in your body. They're like spark plugs. It's like being unplugged from the energy source.
So maybe you can guide our viewers. Okay, let's say we do all the tests, the Dutch test of the liver, and you're talking about the estrogen. So what would be the simple path to to being healthy, to not having a sluggish liver? I mean, what would be a very simple way? I know we don't have much time today, but a very simple 2-minute, 1-minute, your recommendation.
Okay, very first thing, look at your lifestyle. Before you start getting any supplements, before you're getting any protocols from from all of your tests, look at do you wake up? Are you getting on Instagram? Are you super stressed? Do you breathe? Do you get that oxygen? We need to produce energy in our body to have good hormones. We need oxygen. Do you breathe? Do some breathing exercises. Look at the sun. Don't put the shades on. Go get some sunlight. Go barefoot. Drink a good quality. Add minerals to your water. Google, go to Amazon. Buy some minerals, electrolytes. Add them to your water. When you do this testing, the very first thing is to remove all the pathogens. You have to work with your practitioner, okay? With me, with you, who is your practitioner, is to remove. There are good protocols, removing everything doesn't belong in your body. Then we work on the dietary changes. Sometimes there are sick people on vegan diet, sick people on paleo diet, and vice versa, and sick people on all kind of diet. It's not about the diet, it's what the diet is good for you. Have to look at your ancestors, have to look at your microbiome. If you have overgrowth of opportunistic bacteria, you're probably not going to thrive. And if you don't live in Hawaii, you're probably not going to thrive on vegetarian diet. There has to be certain changes made. Or I work with all kind of diets. There is no one, and you don't have to be on a diet more than a year, period. Then it's just whole foods, natural foods, that your grandmother used to eat. You don't have to be on a diet more than that. It's like when you work on healing your gut lining, that sometimes it takes up to 6 months, 12 months. That can be a little bit longer. And I usually ask you to stay away from legumes for a while or here and there, but it has to be very targeted, like supplements. Okay, supplements and herbs are really good for you. You have to then nourish your body. After you remove everything, you have to nourish. Those minerals important, those vitamins important, because nothing going to work without them. The cholesterol is important. Ladies, forget about the vegetable oils that are highly, they bring a lot of oxidative stress in our body. Don't be shy about that grass-fed butter, ghee, like coconut. Do not be scared of saturated fats. They're good for our body. When you don't consume enough saturated fats, that your body has to produce its own, and really working your liver, making your liver work really, really hard. Okay, and then don't be afraid of certain supplements, good quality supplements, because nowadays a lot of chemicals coming from outside, and we depleted a lot. So good quality herbs. Look at like 100,000 years ago in the village, they always had this lady, old lady, who's a herbal, who were helping ladies to feel better, to recover after the birth. Nothing wrong with supplements. We just don't have these herbalist ladies who like have all these. I just don't have time for it, right? With my kids and my work and everything, I just don't have time to dry these herbs on a little string in my house. So instead, I use very good quality supplements from a trusted companies, you know, like Metagenics, Biobotanical Research, that dry these herbs for me. But I like to be that woman who help women to recover with these herbs. There's nothing wrong with that, you know, or you using like good natural, good quality supplements. And then of course, eating a lot and chewing your food. A lot of times, a lot of digestive issues can be fixed with mindful eating, breathing before you eat, using some digestive bitters, arugula. And ladies, chewing, and guys, chewing your food. Be in a good mood. Talk to your people. Don't stick to a phone or computer or TV when you eat your food, right? Then good quality sleep. Taking a bath before you sleep. If you cannot stay away from computer or phone, get the blue light blocking glasses. Get as whatever we can do with our lifestyle, get as close to living natural, you know, day cycle, week cycle, like lifestyle as possible. Whatever we can, of course, with my clients, I always work around their schedule, I adjust. We lie to the body how to distress, like we program the body. And of course, a lot of it in here, we can always through the day, and we women, we always find somebody to look at, like I said, on Instagram and Facebook, and we think that we're not deserving. We're not pretty enough, we're not slim enough, we're not smart enough. And all these thoughts create a lot of chemical reactions in our body, which we call hormones, right? Yeah. This is chemical reaction that coming from your brain, from your heart first, then to your brain, and then signal to our organs what to do, basically. And a lot of these chemical reactions, these thoughts that we have in our head producing feelings, and the feelings produce neurotransmitters, produce hormones. So with my ladies, I always teach them how to, we actually can create our reality. We can choose our thoughts. The problem is nobody teach us from when we were little kids that we can choose our thoughts. Nothing wrong with that. If you don't like the thought, you look at it and you let it go to the same ocean where you know, take it from. And it's so amazing. It's how empowered we can be. You can, if something you don't feel like empowered, if something, these thoughts come into your head, stop, rewind a little bit. Where did this thought coming from? Did I just look at some other successful woman and I just feel jealous or something? And they just tell you, it's okay. I'm working on my world. I'm working on my health. And really important to sit down and write down all of your goals. Who do you want to be in 6 months from now? What kind of woman you want to be?
We don't do that.
From finances, we don't even know where we're going anymore. Look at them. You ask them, how much do you want to make in the 6 months? Well, I never thought about this. Where do you want to live? Who do you want to see around yourself? How do you want to look? What weight you want to be? Build your life. When you start becoming your own creator, when you empower yourself, you know that there is no blame. It's your responsibility. You can change your life in any moment. Write down that woman who is healthy, who is sexy, who is toned, who have kids or like whatever, have her career, who started something. Write it down, look at her, and think about what does she do, this woman, does she do every day? Does she have a structured day? Is she nice to everybody? Does she ask her husband, how is he doing? What does he need to feel loved? How is she as a friend, as a mom? Her right now, and you will become her. And of course, in all the area of my life right now, I like to hire a coach because they can take you from point A to point B a lot faster. In my finances, but you have to resonate with the person. And another thing, it's a lot of marketing nowadays, from supplements to diets to coaching business. You just have to see, and you have to find the one who you resonate with. And
there's a question coming up. They said, do you think ladies are more humane during the pandemic? That's the question.
Yeah, probably I've heard that we all became a little bit more humane during the pandemic because we stopped all of a sudden, right? And we thought, okay, what kind of lifestyle do we actually live? And then we realized that how important that human touch is, how important to hug, to talk, to actually interact with the live people. And we realized we don't want to spend our life just on Zoom talking to our loved ones, right? To our grandparents or to our friends. We need these, and we need to be nicer to each other. We need to be nicer to nature. We need to ask each other questions, take care of each other, and having that hug, having that human interaction is really important. And everybody, I think definitely we all became, and it depends on the person. Some person became more scared and closed actually, because if they live in the scarcity, but those people who took a little bit of more responsibility for their life, they stopped and thought, okay, we stop interacting more with our kids, with our parents, with our, different thought process. It's actually, I always teach my ladies how to find the good in all kind of situations. And I'm not saying that you don't have a right. We are born with our feelings. So if you feel like you're jealous, you hate somebody, you have a right at that feeling. Look at kids. If my daughter come to me and they say, I hate Johnny, I just want to kill him. I'm like, okay, yeah, the dude probably deserve it today. And tomorrow she's going to go to Johnny and they're going to be best friends. They do have their emotions. That's healthy. Actually, there is a research when you suppress your emotions and when you're too friendly, eventually it leads to type 2 diabetes, insulin resistance. So you're suppressing those emotions.
That's right.
Like,
there's a lot of research. There's a lot of research on suppressing your emotions. You need to bring it out, right? Yeah.
Or you're going to have sluggish liver and type 2 diabetes. I'm just kidding.
So most of the women do suppress their emotion. I hope that answered your question. The person who asked the question, hope that answered your question. This is just a short session we are doing. I mean, like a small bite-sized session. But if there is interest, we can do a more in-depth session, with you and talk a little bit more about more details,
Sure. That sounds good.
Great. Anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up today?
I think I like to talk about stuff you probably notice. Sometimes I can get carried away a little bit, but it's just I want to say, yes, you are creator of your own reality. If you put these, plan your life. 6 months from us, from now, who you want to be, become that person, find somebody, or become responsible for your own life. Remove everything doesn't belong in your body. Think about your everyday, how you live every day. Create that protocol that helps for you. If you want to be healthy, you can be healthy.
Yeah.
Hormones, actually, balanced hormones, it's not a rocket science. It's actually can be pretty easy. It depends. Some people, if it's a lifelong issue, if it's autoimmunity, if it's like lifelong constipation, it takes longer. The bigger the ship, the longer it takes to turn it around, right? But if you have 32, if you have estrogen dominance, if you have like some thyroid issues, it's not that hard,
But thank you so much for giving everyone hope that balancing the hormones is not difficult. You can easily balance it, right?
And when I was 28, I felt and look a lot worse than right now when I'm 38. Wow. You can find these pictures on my Instagram. I was pretty much premenopause when I was 28. I was told I will never conceive. I need endometriosis surgery. I need IVF to conceive. Now I have 2 beautiful kids. I did have a little help with the first one. Second one, absolutely natural. Nothing. Didn't have to. And it's everything possible. Do not let anybody tell you that something is not possible when you decide in your health or in your life, in in your finance, whatever you're talking about, right? So yes, and definitely taking care of the body, taking care of your health, it's your responsibility. Tell me how you treat your body, and I tell you how you treat your life.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. I think it's very insightful, very inspiring, very, a lot of knowledge, life knowledge, as well as science knowledge, as well as, taking care of knowledge. I think it's really great that what you said.
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for inviting me. And I love your page, and definitely, if you want to talk more, I'm always available.
I do want to, we will talk about it offline and see what are the other topics and how we can start giving information to our viewers. So definitely, yes. With that, we'd like to wrap up this session. These are very small sessions, like 20 minutes or so. We don't want to take too much time because people don't have the patience to sit here for a long time. So thank you so much for joining us. Any comments? You're welcome to give us comments. Thank you. Bye-bye now. Bye.